Teen takeovers started popping up in Chicago in 2022. This video from April of 2023 showing a trail of destruction left behind. Since then, the issue has continued to resurface.
I knew they was gonna fight. Ooh. I knew they would. Yeah. We just gonna have to start calling Chicago Chicago, because it's going to hell. It is going to hell. Okay? It is going to hell in a handbasket, as they say. Because just the stuff that's going on in Chicago, it boggles the mind, man. I hear people talking about, yeah, we need to be more like Chicago. It's a socialist utopia. They're taxing the rich. Blah, blah. The rich are going to pay their fair share. But every time I get a breaking news report from Chicago, all I see is people getting killed on holiday weekends by the dozens. And the city taxing a group of people that they promised they weren't going to tax them.
The revenues that were put forward by city council, in most instances, they've generated $0. So for instance, the city council voted, instead of taxing the largest corporations in the city of Chicago, they decided to sell debt of working people when no one has bought that debt.
So I'm still waiting on you to show me how socialism works. And you can't say, oh, well, it's being stifled, because the state government, they love the socialists. They love the socialists, or they pretend to. But now you got the Democrat state government coming down on the radical Democratic Socialist mayor of Chicago. So I'm just waiting for socialism to deliver. Socialism at this point is looking like that boy, DeAndre Ayton. It ain't delivering, okay? It ain't ton delivering, okay? So I don't know what y'all talking about, because I got a lot of people and I lost a lot of good friends because they were mad at me because I wouldn't co-sign this socialism crap. And I'm just like, why do you want me to do that? It doesn't work. So getting into it, Chicago Public Schools just announced a budget proposal that includes laying off 760 teachers and 801 teachers' aides to close a massive $732 million budget deficit. The $9.88 billion spending plan, introduced under the district's new CEO, Dr. Macklin King, aims to stabilize the district's finances before a school board vote scheduled for July 30th of 2026. Decades of Democrat management and public demand added a 10,000 employees. Well, it added 10,000 employees to the school's budget, school district's budget, while the enrollment in school dropped 45,000 by 45,000. Now the federal government money that they were sending into Chicago during the pandemic, all that money, it's gone now. So they don't have the loads and loads of taxpayer dollars that they received to fund these tax and fail policies. Now they don't have the money that they once had to fund these tax and fail policies. Because at this point, at one point, they were literally just like, look, these ideas are horrible, but we getting paid. We getting rich. So it don't matter. But it's just like Margaret Thatcher said so many years ago.
No, no, no.
The problem with socialism is that eventually you run out of other people's money. And Chicago is proving those words to be true. Let's get it. Let's get it.
Mark, CPS has an almost $1 billion budget hole to fill, and besides layoffs, furloughs, a spending freeze, and more tax increment financing money, known as TIFs, is how the district plans to balance its budget.
Locked up for now, but in about a month, students will return to over 600 Chicago public schools with possibly less staff. To close a $732 million budget deficit, the district is laying off about 760 teachers, 801 teacher aides, and requiring 5 furlough days on non-attendance days for students. The Chicago Teachers Union called the CPS budget proposal dead on arrival.
What I can say is that this process is painful for everyone all the way around. And I understand how people, especially CTU with, their members being impacted, might feel that way.
CPS CEO Dr. Macklin King says if CPS receives additional money from the city, state, or federal government, furloughs will be restored.
But we will.
So let me go back. Do you notice how it's always the Black woman telling you to vote Democrat? And it's always the Black woman who say, well, we're going to tax the rich. Everything's going to be fine because we're going to pay for the promise in the world. And then when reality hits, they take another Black woman and put her at the front to give you the bad news. I keep telling y'all, the Black female is the stooge of the Democrat Party. The Black female is the fall guy. No pun intended. The Black female is the fall guy stooge of the Democrat Party. Why didn't Brandon Johnson get up there and tell you that? Why didn't all the white liberals who helped Brandon Johnson get elected get up there and tell you that? Why didn't the Hispanics from Little Village who keep voting for all this socialist shit so that they could secure money for their illegal immigrant family members, why didn't they tell you this? They make the decisions. They loot the coffers. They get the money and spread it out among La Raza. And then the Black woman got to go on TV to explain, yo, we don't got enough money, so now we got to lay people off. The same dumbass teachers who was out here trying to defend illegal immigrants when Brandon Johnson was giving them billions and billions and billions and billions of taxpayer dollars, right? Now they're losing their fucking jobs. They're now losing their jobs because they don't have money. The city does not have the money to pay them. They gave immigrants, wait, let me check real quick. How much money did Chicago give illegal immigrants? Let's go. Man, if this number is over $732 million, that tell you everything you need to know right there. Let's go. This is what they did, y'all. Let's go to the facts real quick before we get back to this lady. Let's go back. Let's go here real quick. We gonna learn together. We gonna learn together. We gonna see how they did them, how the Chicago teachers, mostly female, obviously. We gonna see how they played they self. Okay. Chicago has spent an estimated $574.5 million to $612 million on services for newly arrived migrants since August 2022. Now we know if they say 612 million, they probably done spent about $1 billion because they always underreported. This spending covers emergency shelter, healthcare, illegal immigrants getting free healthcare, and social services for approximately 50,000 to 52,000 individuals who have arrived in the city. So they didn't spend $612 million, allegedly, I think the number's higher, giving free stuff to 52,000 illegal immigrants. And who really believes that the number is just 52,000? Right? The majority of these funds, nearly 500 million, was paid to two primary private contractors. So money that they could have been using to keep these teachers employed, money they could have been using to keep your kids, in school, in a position where they can be educated properly at school. They distributed this money to two private contractors. Favorite Healthcare Staffing, providing staffing, nursing, and nutritional services for city-run shelters. So they're giving nursing to the immigrants, food to the immigrants, Equitable Social Solutions, managed housing leases, and homelessness prevention programs. So they were giving the illegal immigrants apartments and getting them out of homeless shelters, probably giving them Section 8 or whatever they call it. In addition to city expenditures, Cook County committed an additional $70 million in 2024, and the state of Illinois has spent $478 million, with projections reaching $2.5 billion. $2.5 billion by the end of 2025. The city faces a $1 billion budget deficit in 2025, partly attributed to these costs, leading to controversy over tax increases used to fund migrant services. So they wait a while and then they tell on themselves. Y'all, the socialist utopia now cannot properly educate their children. The idiotic liberal teachers who fought for these illegal immigrants to stay in their city are now getting laid off because the city spent the money that they could have been using to pay their salary, not to mention 801 teachers' aides getting laid off. So you got over 1,000 people losing their job because the city chose to use the money in the budget to feed, clothe, and house illegal immigrants instead of paying the teachers who educate our children, who are our future. How many times am I going to have to tell y'all? How many times am I going to have to tell y'all? The city of Chicago spent $202.5 billion feeding, clothing, and housing illegal immigrants. And now they can't afford to pay a measly $732 million to keep 700 teachers and 801 teachers' aides employed. This is why people cannot stand black people, because black people do stupid, ignorant shit and then try to parade around like they got everything figured out and everybody else is stupid. They're not going to do this in Irvine, California. They're not going to do this in Whitefield, Maine. They're not going to do this at Martha's Vineyard. Only Black America will allow their city government run by a Black person to spend $2.5 billion feeding, clothing, and housing illegal, undocumented migrants. And then say they're broke and can't afford to spend $732 million to keep over 1,000 teachers employed. so that their children can learn in a city where the reading level is dismal. The literacy rate is dismal. But these people will still enforce. I'm voting Democrat. Oh, it's blue no matter who. Come on, y'all. We cannot be this damn pathetic. And the irony is the same damn teachers were defending the illegal immigrants. They were hating the teachers union, Democrat, every election. Why do you keep doing it? Why do you keep supporting a political party that every chance they get, they show you, you are not the belle of the ball. You are not the apple of our eye. We don't care about you anymore. We would rather flood the country with 15 million illegal immigrants in hopes that we can make them voters than help you help our children. And people treat me like I'm up here saying something wrong. I'm not saying nothing wrong. I'm saying everything right. I'm pointing out inconsistencies, ignorance, delusion, and stupidity. And people never want to admit that they got scammed. They never want to admit they got conned. That's why con artists are able to go and continue to con people for years and years and years and decades. Teachers of Chicago, it's time to admit you got bamboozled. You got hoodwinked. You run amok. All that stuff Malcolm X said. You got. And now a black woman is going to sit here in your face and act as if she didn't know that she going to act like, oh, it's just a budget discrepancy. We just don't have the money. No, you had the money and you gave the money to illegal immigrants. Now you don't have the money and now a bunch of people have to lose their job. And she don't care. Because in the black community, as long as I got mine still, I don't care if everybody else lose theirs. We go right back to rugged individualism. The rugged individualism that we try to condemn the Republicans and conservatives for having. Where's socialism? Where's the community socialist pot where they say, we're going to give you the 732 million so we can keep these teachers employed? Socialism disappears in an instant. Socialism goes out the window as soon as the layoffs start.
Would want to prioritize the furlough days, but have to leave flexibility.
And the layoffs are due partly to CPS reducing its student-to-teacher ratio by 1. The rest are principals' discretion based on shifting needs of their schools.
A lot of these are like local personnel decisions, and they're driven by programmatic need. They're driven by enrollment at the school. If the school doesn't need 3 fourth grade classrooms, they only need 2.
CPS says many of the laid off teachers will likely be rehired, something CTU disputes.
Unfortunately, when our teachers are laid off, a lot of them leave our district because people need job security. And not having that job security and instability causes them to leave the profession.
Listen, Bonquisha with no edges, you gave away job security. You gave away job security the minute you chose the well-being of illegal immigrants over your own personal well-being. Black women are the #1 supporters of the Democrat Party, and Black women are the #1 victims of the Democrat Party. The majority of teachers in Chicago are women. Those same teachers were over here screaming how we should support the illegal immigrants and they're our neighbors and defund ICE and all this bullshit, right? Now they're realizing, damn, the money that they could have given to us to prevent these layoffs and secure our jobs, they were giving that money to these illegals. If you would have told if you would have asked these women, are you guys okay with massive layoffs so that we can take the money that the American people paid the government, the city government, to pay you? Can we reallocate this money to give Encarnacion in Little Guadalupe free housing in a 5-star hotel and an EBT card with $12,000 on it? They would have said no. But they don't do their research. And the Black women who know, the Stacey Abrams and Cori Bushes and the Fonnie Willises and Nina Turners of the world, they purposely withhold the real facts from them to get them to support their own demise. This is why I continue to say Black people, specifically the Democrat Black female, has been defeated by the South American illegal criminal alien migrant because she fights for them, not realizing that the entire reason for them being here is to replace and displace her as the primary core voter, the primary core non-white voter for the Democrat Party.